All right, let's go ahead and make an espresso from start to finish. So the first thing to do is add some water. So we can either remove the reservoir or we can dump water with like a pitcher directly in. Do a combination of both for you. It has a minimum line, so you'll want to surpass that at the minimum. Okay, so we're past the minimum line. It just slides into place. All right, we'll come around, hit the power button. All right, it's on. So here I'm actually going to do a double shot. So right now the machines should already be warmed up, but sometimes when you first turn it on, it may be cold. It might need a second to warm up. So we've got some fresh beans here, freshly roasted beans. We've got our tool to help us measure. All right. So I'm going to start off with zeroing this out and then measuring out about 18 grams of beans. All right. Remove the lid. Replace the lid. All right, so now that we've got our beans in the hopper, we can choose our coarseness. I'd recommend starting with the number 1 for now, and then fine-tuning from that point. All right, so we'll grab our portafilter, and what we'll do next is we're going to slide it into the cradle here, the portafilter cradle, which makes it hands-free, so while it's filling up with grinds, you can work on something else, or you just don't have to hold the heavy thing. And this is actually presses a switch here when you put it into place, which automatically starts the grinding, and you can push it again to stop the grinding, or you can also use the grinding button to start and stop that. So let's give that a demonstration. Just going to slide in place. Okay. Now we should have our 18 grams of coffee grinds here. Let's move over to this side. So give this a little tap just to even it out a little bit so it doesn't spill over. We'll grab our distribution tool. This is called a WDT, Wise Distribution Tool, named after the guy. There you go. So we'll just kind of break up any clumps that may be here. You don't want any clumps in your espresso powder. All right. Next, we'll just kind of pre-level that with this guy. Simple as that. Finally, we're going to move over to tamping. The tamping is pretty important. So this is basically you're adding pressure there, and it's supposed to be very level and flat. And this is also to make sure that all of your grinds are compact and even density all the way throughout. And this will prevent any channeling or like passageways that the water chooses with least resistance. If that happens, that's how you end up with like a less even flavor. All right, so let's give that a demonstration. You aim for about 20 to 30 pounds, but you can also get a tool that basically makes it so you can't underdo or overdo it really. And some of them also let you know when you've reached the minimum pressure. Okay, but we'll give you just a quick demonstration. You grab like a doorknob, elbow up, wrist firm, straight down. You kind of get the feel for 20, 30 pounds after a while. And there you should have a nice smooth surface there. All right. So moving forward, you can already ahead of time set your volume levels per espresso or double shot espresso. So what we're going to do here is, maybe a little hard to see, but I'm going to push this up into place in this position starting, rotate it, and that's just going to lock our portafilter into position. All right. And then next up, just as simple as pressing our espresso ×2 button because we did the volume of grinds for a double shot of espresso. And so you can also take your cup and put it on the scale, zero out the weight of the cup, and you can weigh and time the time of your espresso. Oftentimes people will say that a double shot should be about 25 to 30 seconds for the actual fluids to pass through it, and that the weight should be about double the amount of weight of grinds that you put in. So in this example, we did 19 grinds, double that. It should come out about 38 grams of fluid in weight, and it should take about 25 to 30 seconds. And that's where the fun of this and the science of it all happens, where you fine-tune your coarseness and your weight and all of those things to really get the exact espresso flavor that you want. So those are basic general guidelines. If you end up with like a very slow pour based on it being a very dense puck, then you're going to get a more bitter. You tend to get a more bitter shot. If the fluid comes out quickly, a faster pour, you'll get usually a more sour shot. All right, here we're going to use a see-through one so you can actually see what happens. And this here is a double shot portafilter spout. And actually, the intention is so that you can do 2 cups at once if you need to separate one shot and another 1 shot. But here we're doing both into one vessel. So let's go ahead and hit the Espresso X2, and just like that, it'll do its thing. It also has a built-in timer so that you can measure out the amount of time that your shot is actually taking. And again, this is based on guidelines, but you know, you can aim for 25 to 30 seconds from the first drop to the last, while also aiming for that time double the volume of the original coffee. But there you have it. You've got a nice crema on top of the espresso. All right, we can pour that over some ice here. You've got a super caffeinated drink ready to go.